What's up guys, this is Darkbblue. In my last video, I have introduced the spirit mechanic of Wolong and drawn 3 important conclusions. But at that time, 2 of them required more study, and now I'm back with my latest results. I believe they will change the way you see and play this game. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's dive right into it. At first, we need to start with dividing enemies into 2 categories. This is helpful for following content. According to if your normal attacks can stagger enemies, they can be divided into staggerable and unstaggerable. Staggerable enemies will be staggered by normal attacks and or try to block them, but unstaggerable enemies aren't totally unable to be staggered. When you destroy certain parts of their body, they will be stunned. But there is another thing called status effect stun. In Wolong, there are 5 phases: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, and they each correspond to a series of spells. Using such spells can cause status effect accumulation, and when it is fully accumulated, the status effect will be triggered. This will in the meantime stun the enemy, even those who are unstaggerable by normal attack. Okay, now we are ready to check out the second conclusion in last video. We need to make consuming spirit more beneficial, but how? There are 3 things you can do by consuming spirit: heavy attack, martial arts, and spells. I believe you are familiar with heavy attacks. It can greatly reduce enemy spirit and spirit limit, and lead to frequent execution. It is already pretty beneficial, so martial arts and spells must have some unique advantages to attract you. And the first is, they cost fixed amount of spirit, while heavy attack requires you to have high positive spirit. Actually, you can use martial arts and spells as long as your spirit is higher than negative 1000. In other words, when your spirit is at negative 1000, you can just do a light attack or a deflecting to gain a base spirit, and you will be able to use martial arts and spells again. And this means you can repeat them at a high frequency. If you have played other games by Team Ninja, you will know repeating the same move indicates some RPG builds. So I believe martial arts and spells will play an important role in making builds. The second advantage is damage. When we compare their damage, we must count the damage of execution and the damage of heavy attack. So it won't be easy for martial arts and spells to beat heavy attack in damage, but they are more likely to be supported by gears and attributes. Again, this is related with RPG elements and builds. The third is their efficiency against staggerable enemies. Heavy attacks have very limited effects against staggerable enemies and give them many chances to fight back, but martial arts and spells provide you with more possibility. You can use them to reduce the recovery time after heavy attack, and they can also be used to follow up enemies when they try to draw back. All in all, this is more related with action elements instead of RPG. The fourth is, some arts and spells can do ranged attack or AoE attack, so they are really handy when you have to face multiple mobs at the same time. Furthermore, spells have 2 unique features. They can provide some buffs, and they can cause status effect stun. Also, arts have a unique feature as well. Some arts are able to dodge or block enemies' attack, so they make it possible for you to attack and avoid getting hit with the same move. This makes action elements more interesting. Now you can see, although heavy attack is powerful, arts and spells do have some special advantages, and most of them are related with RPG elements, so they are likely to be the core of builds in late game. Also, if you are not that good at action games but still want to play Wolong, I believe utilizing RPG elements will make it easier. That's all about the second conclusion. Next, let's turn to the third conclusion. You can gain spirit in both active and passive ways. Active means using light attack, and passive means waiting for the chance to deflect. Both ways can satisfy the ideal combat style, and both ways can gain enough spirit for you to consume. So both of them are important, and have the potential to give birth to more fine-grained strategies. Let's start with passive strategy. It's simple. Wait for enemies to attack first and deflect their attack. The most basic form of it is giving up attack totally and use deflecting only. Of course, this can be improved we can consume spirit when it is high, and the enemy is not attacking. This will bring more benefits. And again, we can add more light attacks when it is possible, so that we can gain spirit more efficiently. After the two improvements, we get the ultimate form of passive strategy. It is really efficient but requires you to be familiar enough with enemies. If you need more time to practice, I recommend starting with the most basic form, giving up attack and focusing on deflecting. When you get more familiar, try to add more attacks. And please note that although this strategy restricts how you gain spirit, it does not restrict how you spend spirit. You can use arts and spells if you want to make use of some special advantages over heavy attack. After that, let's talk about active strategy. I believe your first impression of it should be fighting staggerable enemies. When you can still use light attack to stagger them, it is simple, as you can just keep attacking. But enemies can resist, even though they can be staggered. They have three needs: red light attack, normal attack, and drawing back. Among them, red light attack is actually beneficial for you, as you can easily deflect it and deal great amount of spirit damage, but the rest two means can be harder to deal with. So what's the so-called normal attack? You are supposed to be able to stagger enemies with light attack indeed, but there is a recovery time after a full set of light attacks, and this time is enough for your enemies to use a normal attack. So it's clear how to deal with it, since it's the recovery time that causes this problem. You can use heavy attack to reduce the recovery time after light attack, and use arts to reduce the recovery time after heavy attack. Spells are useful as well. In short, use heavy attack, arts or spells after a full set of light attacks, and you should be able to keep your enemies staggered. But drawing back can cause more trouble. Taking Zhang Liang as an example, he can draw back at any time during your attack, and when he draws back, he will be temporarily unstaggerable. Some arts and spells with long distance movement can be useful, but they are rare. A more practical method is to admit your enemy has regained his freedom, and now be ready to deflect his attack to stagger them again. All in all, using active strategy against staggerable enemies requires you to do certain heavy attack, arts or spells after a full set of light attacks, which will consume spirit. So this leaves you no freedom to choose how to spend the spirit. However, if you still remember the status effects, then you will notice active strategy works not only on staggerable enemies. Theoretically, it can also work on unstaggerable ones. But after trying it out, I noticed two restrictions of this strategy. First, you have to stack status effect fast enough. This can be solved by using certain spells with multiple hits, and I'm sure some gears will increase that efficiency. And second, when a status effect is active, you won't be able to cause the same effect again until its duration time is over. You only have 5 phases in this game, and you can equip at most 4 spells at the same time, so this seems really hard to solve. Now I can come up with only one solution: kill your enemies within the 4 steps. Anyway, this active strategy against unstaggerable enemies is still promising. It is not truly viable at present, but can be with the support of good builds. Now we have covered one passive strategy and 2 active strategies, but which one should we pick in real combat? Personally, I will choose active strategy when fighting staggerable enemies. I think this is easier than waiting to deflect, as my enemies will have less chance to attack. But for unstaggerable enemies, I will still use passive strategy, but I will try different arts and spells rather than using only heavy attack. That's everything I want to share in this video. I have provided my answers to the 2 problems proposed in last video. When consuming spirit, although heavy attack is powerful, martial arts and spells indeed have some unique advantages. And according to the 2 ways to gain spirit, we can design 3 strategies, each with special usage. After understanding this knowledge, you are now one step closer to Master Wolong. If you like my story and if you want to draw me into depths of games, just like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.